everybody, to another episode, and you're listening to the Raw Knowledge Podcast with your host, as ever, myself, Alex Connor, and I'm back with another talented and brilliant mind. Today, someone who wears many hats, physically and probably metaphorically speaking as well. I am joined by the one and only Jaxon Tippet. Thanks for joining me, man. How are you?
Yeah, really good, Alex. Thanks so much for having me on board. Sorry about the first episode, but we got around to it. And as I always say when I go on someone else's, it's really exciting to be on someone else's podcast because obviously I have my own, but it's good for you to ask me questions. You know what I mean? So I'm excited.
For sure, man. It's good to be on the opposite end of the mic. And I've been doing a few of those lately with a couple of guests where, you know, I've been guesting on their podcast. They've come on mine, and it's always quite refreshing to have the different angle.
Yeah.
So, man, as always, let's start at the beginning for people who might not be aware of who you are. Tell us what you do and, more importantly, why you do it.
What I do right at this current time?
Yeah, like just in general.
Yeah.
Like if someone asks you, what are you? What do you do? How do you describe that?
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky one, to be honest, because I'm doing a little bit of everything, and that's honestly the truth. But I am known for an online coach predominantly. Starting from my PT, I switched to go online. Why? Because there's more money to be made and there's more target audience. Obviously, you can go worldwide. So that's predominantly my main job, fitness. I've always loved helping people, seeing them transform in their bodies and their mindset and just become a different person. So that's my foremost job. But as of late, with as you know, but probably other people don't know, I built my social media up a lot, and that has led to work through modeling, brands, exposure, all that type of stuff. So it's actually gotten to the point where, I don't know, people call it influencer. I hate that word. I just think I'm representing brands is probably how I would say it. And that's actually, believe it or not, that's taken over my online coaching. It's gotten to the point where it's very busy. So it's kind of hard because I should really focus on one so I can become better at it. But I love them both so much and they counteract each other. So I just do them both, man. You know what I mean? It's just how it is.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you are, someone who has a variety of things on the go. You like, variety and doing different things, this, that, and the other. So perhaps something that we can run through is for someone who, is an online coach, but is now working with a lot of brands, is very creative. What does a day in the life look like for you? Like, give us, for example, a day of last week, because I imagine days can look very different when you're working with different brands and locations. But I always think it's cool to share that because a lot of people can connect or get a bit of an idea of what they think they see on social media versus what it is actually like doing, what it is you're doing, working with different brands and having all these things on the go.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I've actually never told my day in the life. So obviously it varies every single day, and it really does. But a typical day would be, I would wake up, straight out of bed. I would do a little bit of affirmations. I got my diary that I have written with a few goals, and it's got like quotes in there. It's this cool diary from a company that they sent me. So I kind of get just visual through that. I take my morning drink, which is a detoxification of, apple cider vinegar, all that, greens. I like to start the day or in that type of manner. And then I'll literally just straight out the house. I will get to the gym. I will train with a client, but also train myself. So it's a double whammy because why not? You know what I mean? Time is money. So I will do that. And then basically I might train another client after that. I might not. If I don't, I'll probably go straight to the beach for a walk. And on that walk, it'll probably be an hour walk. I will do all messages, reply to comments, reply to email, just everything through Instagram. And trust me, man, like replying itself is a full-time job. It's crazy. So I'm literally, that's probably the main thing I'm doing all day between my actual jobs is just whether it's getting something ready for a podcast, whether it's doing a post up, whether it's replying to this brand, whether it's just something always to be done on there. Whether it's checking in with a client or calling them and seeing how they are. That's probably the main aspect of my day. From then, I'll usually do the hour walk, and then I'll have a little bit of lunch. And then on a typical day, I will go and do a photo shoot. So I usually do my shoots around 2 p.m. kind of thing, just as the sun's going down a little bit. And then they don't go that long. A lot of people say, how long do you shoot for? Obviously, as you get more experience with it, it just becomes natural. But man, I don't shoot for over an hour probably. Whereas people are like, oh, you shoot half a day. No way, man. Like I shoot for an hour and a half probably, and we could knock anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 images out. And as you know, you do the same thing, you're probably going to only use 15 of them. So it's pretty crazy. Like a lot of people think it's really strange because a lot of people, they'll take an image, say on their phone, and they're like, oh, well, it doesn't match how I want it to look. But they don't understand our images that we post. That's one of literally probably 600 in that walk-in pose or the right light. So you can't be too hard on yourself. You have to really, any big model, the image that you're seeing on a front cover or something, that's 1 in a million. And that's when they look their absolute prime. So please don't judge your bad image of someone that's higher up of you that you're trying to be, because there's a lot of reasons why the image looks like that, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's basically, I'll wake up, train a client, go for my walk, do my messages, I'll do a shoot, and then I'll drive home. I'll do a few more messages, and then I usually do what I'm doing now is I'll do a podcast in the afternoon, whether it's on another guest or with myself. And that'll lead me into about the 5 or 6 o'clock range, where that's when I zen out. Like I still am on my phone, but I just cook some dinner, and I honestly just like to sit down. I like to watch some YouTube. I like to even do a bit of study with articles or whatever it may be to do with nutrition or training. And I'll zen out until bed. And that's literally a typical day in my lifestyle.
No, for sure. I like what you said about the images. There's a couple of points or things I want to go back on, but as you said, perception versus reality, which I've been saying a lot lately, because people often see things on social media, especially like these images, and they think, oh, wow, you're just so photogenic. You just take this image and they're like, yeah, but it's kind of like a good physique. Like you weren't just born this way. Like you've not seen all the reps, all the sets, all the food, all the rest, all the recovery, all the fuck ups that have gone into this. So, and I guess, I don't think there's many people advertising that it is just a one-hit wonder, but I don't think people actually are as transparent of the work that goes in. There seems to be something glorious about like, oh yeah, I made it on my own and it was all good. It's like, truth is, you probably had a lot of people that helped you, and you probably made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. And that's kind of the reality of it, which would be great to share, because perhaps people would have a more realistic expectation instead of saying, well, it's all right for you. I wanted to ask as well about, being in front of the camera. Do you take a lot of photos yourself? When you take these photos, are you always with another photographer? And for people out there who might be wondering how you get more comfortable in front of the camera, or even getting better at posing, apart from doing it more, what advice would you offer?
Great questions, man. So yes, I don't take any photos myself. I've done it. And as you know, when you get a professional photographer, they do look crisper. They just look better, man. It takes the stress off of you. You get it all done in one hit. So no, I never take photos on my phone unless it's just a candid shot, but that might be one in 10 brands. I might just do a candid shot. So I do like my professional images. I'm just a big believer in quality, you know what I mean? So definitely get a photographer to take all my images. With becoming better at not being photogenic, that's a good question. Because I was very nervous when I started. And I was very shit, to be honest. So I just think the number one tip, man, is just be natural. Don't try to pose or do something like someone else. And I've had lots of people come to me and they're like, can you teach me how to pose right? Like, I've got a photo shoot next weekend. And I'm like, but even how I do my poses, they might not look good for you, because I do my poses because that's how I naturally am. Like, you might see me cross my arms and that, and that's just what I do. Like, it just looks good with my image, whereas someone else might do that and it might not look good. So I don't think you can really copy someone's poses. I think you just got to be yourself, and just how you stand naturally, like with your hand in your pocket or whatever it is. Obviously, depending what clothing it is, if it's more casual, that's something you do. But if it's more like a gym shoot, for example, obviously you'd put a bit more flex into it. So it kind of depends on what brand you're shooting and the location.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think a lot of people overthink it, or perhaps they, as you said, they try and model everything specifically. I think there's nothing wrong with having and finding inspiration in other people. But if
Yeah.
you are trying to just replicate everything to the nth degree, then usually that is going to be a recipe for disaster. Um, Something else I want to chat about, because I know a lot of people are going to have questions about this as well. How do you go about, and we've talked a lot about this off camera. How do you go about working with these brands? How do you build it up? There's people out there now, they've asked the modeling questions. They want to be, someone who's, and again, like you, I don't like the word influencer, but someone who is perhaps working with brands, collaborating, getting creative, or whatever you want to call it. What advice would you give to people that want to actually go out and do it, apart from the caveat of being actually want to do it? Because I think a lot of people, they think that they need to be this status or someone working with different companies and different businesses. But ultimately, and I don't know if this is the same for you, I just love being in front of the camera. Like, I'm a showman. I enjoy it. I like fashion. I love fashion. I'm very creative and very eccentric. So for me, it's something that comes naturally, but it still does require work. But for those who have got that creative streak, who are passionate, what are some things that you would perhaps recommend them do? Or if I phrase it like this, what would you do differently if you had to start from square one again and build up to where you are now?
Yeah, good question. So basically, I just kind of look at it like if you were going for a job, if you're going for a job, like, you got to hand in your resume, you have to present yourself right. And yeah, that's like basically those two things will make or break if you're going to get the job, in my opinion. How you present at the interview, the resume, and how you look, and that's make or break. So it's the same with the brand. So the brand is the job, if that makes sense. So if I'm the person that wants a job, let's just say I want Culture Kings. I'm the person, I want to work with Culture Kings. That's the job. I have to first and foremost for anything, you have to have a portfolio of your photos to actually show these brands. So if you've never done a professional shot, you're very slim chances you're going to get a yes from these brands that they will want you to shoot their gear. It's plain and simple, man. So that's first and foremost. But then after that, you want to message the companies in the right way. And this is something that, believe it or not, even you are a bit shocked. I message virtually every brand. Every brand, man. Everyone thinks every brand messages me, but it's the opposite. And I'm straight up honest, man, because not many brands just reach out and be like, oh, what are your rates, blah, blah, blah. Like, as you know, money it's making the world go round. People don't just want to spend money. So, and they got so many options. So why would they pick you out of anyone in Australia, if that makes sense? So I just think first and foremost, you got to go put in the work and contact brands that you want to work with, because they're not going to come to you, and I can guarantee you that. There might be a couple, but it's very rare. So you got to go out and you got to be consistent. You got to, you can't just expect to also message that brand once and then, oh yeah, we signed a contract or something. Like, I've messaged, I'm not going to say the brand, but a big brand. It took me 6 or 7 emails until they actually replied. And then I just kept hassling them, commenting on their photo, check your DM, all that kind of stuff. And then it got to the point where they checked it and they're like, okay, this dude's eager and keen. And then you just got to start small also. So you can't expect to get paid off your first shoot. So something I like to do is, you know, if I was starting out, I'd be like, I would actually say, could I purchase something for, like, could I purchase one of your products for a discounted price and I'll get some content in it? Because as a brand owner, you love that type of person, because if someone comes to you, they want to do content, but they're also offering to buy something. So they're showing love to the brand, but then they want to give back and do a post. The brand's like, wow, this guy's, you know, he's awesome. And then from there, if they like your content, they should lead on and be like, hey, you know, we're going to throw you our whole range for free. Now, can you do some content? That's the next step. And then the next step after that is like, once you've been working with someone and you know your worth, you know, brands might be like, I'll send you our whole new winter collection. And then you'll be like, okay, happy to do that, but these are my rates for, you know, 10 so images. So it all comes in different phases. And if you're not obviously at that top phase, you can't expect to put your rates out there, because you're just going to get denied every time.
Yeah, and there's some really good golden nuggets in there for people. And thanks for sharing like a bit of a timeline and also some like real examples of that as well. Again, a lot of the perhaps realizations from people or what people think is not different. I think there is this stigma where people get thrown things, and that might be true once you get to a certain place. Like I'm sure you get a lot of people, although you're still reaching out, you probably get a lot of brands reaching out to you, but it's not always going to be a good fit either. Which brings me to the question of, for you, how do you discern with what brands you want to work for? Because you don't obviously want to tarnish your name. You want to make sure that you're still ethical, you still got values. And it's very easy to turn into, you know, without naming names, people out there who just promote everything under the sun, which is quite controversial, especially if you're a coach and you understand training and nutrition. And next minute, you know, you're trying to push some fucking weight loss tea or something. You know what I mean? Like, so what are you, where do you stand with that? And how do you approach even say turning brands down, or making sure that you always keep in alignment to your vision without taking on too much work or turning it down for that matter?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, if it was something, see, I do rep a lot of clothing, but brands are fine with it unless it's, if you're signed with someone. So if you're signed with like a supplement company, there's no way I would promote another supplement, if that makes sense, because that is just conflict. But if you're just, a brand comes to you to shoot their clothing range, but you're not signed with them, you just shoot in a one-off clothing range. That's predominantly what I do. So then I would just move on. Another brand contacts me or I contact them and I'll shoot it. I just find when it hits the certain niche, like if it conflicts, so if it's say Culture Kings and then a direct, like their opposing brand messages me, I just wouldn't do it, because you just kind of know deep down if the owner of that is going to get pissed off because you're shooting another brand that is very similar. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just common sense. I don't also like to promote anything that's, as you said, that's too like, you know, it's not real. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Gimmicky.
oh, no, this is just a joke. Like, you just want us to do this for the exposure, but is it really going to work? Probably not. And I've had hundreds of brands try to send me nothing to do with clothing, like, oh, this new coffee or this skincare or this waist trainer I've even had. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of those things I don't believe in. So I've just said automatically, no, I don't believe in them. So why would I want to put them on my story and preach something that I know is not going to work?
For sure. And that's what you've got to, I think you've got to be straight up. You've got to be cutthroat as well, because otherwise people start to take the piss a little bit and take advantage. Yeah. Next minute, you've got too many products and you know what to do with. And, you know, you people who are probably genuinely following you are also like, hey man, what are you doing? Because you're promoting this and then you're promoting that and that contradicts this.
Yeah.
you know, you don't want to be that guy or girl, because I think there's too many of them about. What about now creating balance and even, you know, staying mentally positive with social media? You mentioned before in the day of life, you spend a lot of time on the phone and you're getting back to messages. You probably get a little bit of hate as well. I'm sure there's always, you know, people out there, or whatever they call them. I don't know these days, but people sort of
Yeah.
commenting on photos. How do you keep the balance with your health, with spending so much time on social media, and making sure that your, you know, your mental health, your psyche is in check? Because I know a lot of people who are pretty big on social, and they've gone through periods where they really struggle because they feel like they're under pressure to deliver. They feel like they are not, I guess, connected to in a real way, because people have this unrealistic expectation of who they are or who they want them to be. Is that something that you've ever struggled with? And and if not, why? Or if so, how have you dealt with that?
That's actually a really good but tough question. Like that's I don't even know how to answer this, but I definitely suffer it first and foremost. I am a firm victim of that still to this day. I try to deliver because you got to kind of live up to that expectation now, and it's very. I'll tell you right now, it's very hard.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
how do I? Yeah, it's a good question. How do I like? Yeah, I don't really know how to say that. Like I suppose at the end of the day, I just know that I am a normal person like anybody else. I'm a normal human. Um, and I just try to maintain, you know, being modest. I try not to have an ego. I suppose that's going down a different category, but I just, I just try really come back and just know me for myself and not this Instagram person, if that makes sense. Even though that's what I'm on, the number's just a number. And at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that's who I am or anything. So yeah, it's kind of, you just got to believe in yourself. If like if you're a good person, that's all that matters really. I don't know if that's really the right answer, but yeah.
yeah, I look, sometimes these, like you said, you don't know how to answer things, but it's whatever it means to
Mm.
you at the time. And I think everyone kind of goes through that, especially when you're exposed to so many people as you grow. It's just going to come naturally. You're always going to get comments or people who are jealous and whatever it might be, which is usually a reflection on them. I want to talk about an interesting topic now. So we're both here in Australia, right? You're on the Sunshine Coast. I'm on the Gold Coast. You've been in the Gold Coast. How do you find the dating scene, and also being someone who now is, you know, thought of as a model, as a coach, as a person of status? Do you find that girls will try and judge you based on your looks? Do you think that there's a lot more women coming in with unauthenticity because they feel that they want to be with some for status? And also people who might not be aware of how you look. Do you think people maybe stereotype you as well? How have you found that versus, and I don't know if you've done much traveling, how that is when you go to a different country or a different area?
Yeah, definitely with the judging side of things, it's probably one of my most hated things when people judge you based on the fact that they don't know you, just off an image. There's nothing more like, obviously I just kind of put it aside now, but it's very frustrating because, as you know, I get judged all for the wrong reasons due to my look. It's never the right reasons, and I don't know why society is like this, but just because I have some ink on me, and I firmly believe this, if I took all the ink away, I reckon I would be a whole different person if someone, not me, like if someone judged me. And
Mm,
it's just, I really don't know why it's like that. I obviously do know in a way it's all because of the bikie scene and what's kind of happened with that. But in the same token, I don't get it at all because, you know, I know many people that are covered in ink and they're the nicest humans I've ever met. And I genuinely mean that, man. So, and then I know people with that are clean skinned, that are absolute assholes. So you can't judge that judge a look by its cover, because I don't believe in that one bit. So that is very tough to take on board when someone judges you, or you hear rumors, or someone's messaging like, oh, don't hang with so and so because, you know, he's this and that, when you're not that. You know what I mean? It's
mm,
like, you don't even know what I do or who I am, and you're telling other people that I'm this and that. So it's very hard, man. But I think you just, at the end of the day, if you know you're not that person, you just put it aside and you just keep striving and moving forward with what you're doing. And that's, you know, I'm doing good things now. I'm helping people. I'm working with brands. I'm doing my podcast. So at the end of the day, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not on steroids. So I don't care. Like I'm not a bad person. So I don't need to take that on board and let these little naysayers try affect my life.
No, for sure. It's it is frustrating. You should never judge a book by its cover. And it reminds me of a story where there's a CEO of a company and he is literally covered in tattoos, but no one knows because he wears a suit every day and he grows his hair. And he actually had a shaved head, and it was on, I think it was on like Undercover.
Yeah.
It was years ago. It was so good. Anyway, so after, you know, X many years working in the company, the TV got a hold of him and was like, hey, you know, you want to do this like undercover boss thing, but he didn't actually go undercover. He just turned up to work one day on his Harley without his suit on, singlet, whatever it was, like shaved his head, walked in, and literally no one recognized him and everyone treated him really rude. And then he was just like, do you realize who I am? And like, as in like not trying to big up himself, but like, do you not recognize, like, I know I've shaved my head, but take a look. And they're like, holy shit. And then everyone realized he was like the CEO, but because, you know, he'd shaved his head to reveal the tattoos and he didn't have a suit on, people just treated him so differently. And I often have this, this like, I'd love to just be fully covered, like for a day, and just see how people would treat me differently to confirm that. But just, it'd just be fun just to see.
Yeah.
Versus nothing. And you're right. And even like down to a hairstyle or a language or where you're from, people will always just create an association and they'll just go, oh yeah, that's what it's associated with. It's like, well, no, that's maybe what the stereotype is, but yeah, I'm a big believer that you should give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, yeah, you just don't know, and there's good and bad and bad and good and all of that. What about the relationship side of things? How do you find that in this area of the world? Like, for example, for me, I find that in such a place where cosmetics and looks are so highly regarded, as good as it is, I find it hard to create deeper connections with women, especially on a more authentic and genuine level. But I also find that's because it's quite a young country over here. And I think that sometimes the lack of culture has a role to play. But how do you find it as someone who's probably spent a lot more time here than me in regards to that being on the opposite side of the coin, if you will?
As in, like, do you mean like what do you mean by that?
Well, because you're Australian.
Like, is it hard to find girls, do you mean, and date in this country?
Yeah. Like, how do you find the dating scene here in Australia?
Very fake. I find all relationships and all this dating thing right now with social media, I find it very hard to trust someone. And I just find there's too much distractions on the internet. So I find, why does someone ever want to lock down and live or spend the rest of their life with this one individual? Because there's too much distractions, and I think people don't know what they really want to do. And I find marriage a lot different to marriage with, like, say, my parents. So I honestly, I think it's a bit all over the shop right now. It's very, and don't get me wrong, there is the right person out there for you. Absolutely. But I'm talking at a young age right now with social media, I reckon it's very hard to find a serious relationship.
Have you done much traveling?
Absolutely, man. I've been everywhere but Europe, and I reckon it's completely different.
It is, isn't it? It's every place has its own nuances and cultures. I personally believe, like, one of the best educations is traveling, and I encourage people to travel more. I mean, not only do you appreciate your own country, but you also get a perspective for what else is out there. And you realize that, wow, you know what? The world is bigger than this place where I live. And there is so many different types of people and cultures and ethnicities and trends and what people do. It's very, very insightful. And I know it's kind of hard, especially at the minute with COVID. So it is, Yeah,
Have
it's
you
a difficult situation.
have you been to Thailand?
I have not been over there yet. That's one of the places I've not been. I've only been in Asia to Singapore, and where else did I stop over? Can't remember, but Singapore is where I spent most of my time. But no, what's it like over there?
Oh,
I've heard good things.
yeah, yeah. Oh, like in terms of what you're talking about, I just find when I was in Thailand, just literally treated like a king, like just very well respected. Doesn't matter about your look. Um, a lot of manners over there, just completely different, man. Like it's really interesting.
Yeah. I'll put it on my to-do list because for me, that's, people ask me at the minute, at Christmas and New Year, like, oh, you're still kind of working through, like you didn't take much time off. And I'm like, yeah, well, like I'm not being arrogant, but I love what I do. And I have a good balance for the most part, apart from when I'm, at the full end, I'm doing some extra study at the minute and I'm taking on a few other projects. But the only other thing that I wanted to do that would require me to have time off at that point was literally travel. And, we can only travel within Australia at the minute, which is not a bad thing. But
Yeah.
I had my heart set on a trip back to Europe to see some family and friends. Which, again, you will find out the joys of Europe. I mean, like anywhere, there's pros and cons, but is such an amazing place. So for you, man, what's the plans for the future? Do you see yourself continuing to build your personal brand, your coaching, or is there any other things you have in the pipeline? Would you like to create your own line of clothing, or have you got something left field that you'd love to pursue?
Yeah, good question. So I'm actually in the process of doing my own clothing. That's something I do want to do. Obviously, when you, as you know, when you get into fashion and you love wearing good quality clothes, and you've got the profile behind you, it's just a dream of mine to bring out something of my own that I really like to wear, and it looks good. And it's just, yeah, I'm very passionate about clothes right now, and man, I wear so many clothes. It's just like, oh, I wish. Do you find it funny? Like I get sent brands like there might be AS Color, for example, not hating on anything, but it might just not sit on you right, but the logo might be awesome. And you just like, man, if that was my brand, I'd tweak that sleeve or I'd make it a bit longer and it would look so much better. And that's why I want to bring out my own clothing brand, because I feel like I could make it, unique and really well fitted and look good, as opposed to a lot of these other brands that are just, they don't really know what they're doing. They're just throwing a label on it. Do you know what I mean? On a plain shirt. And it's like, there's more to fashion than that. So yeah, that's definitely one part of it. And the second part, I obviously want to keep doing my modeling and all that, but the second part I really want to grow is exactly what we're doing now. I want to really pursue the podcast. I want to, who knows where it can take me, man. Like I don't know where I see it going, but I do have high expectations. I'd love to start doing my video interviews, getting bigger guests on board, and just see where it takes me, man. Like maybe get to the Joe Rogan, like the Joe Rogan show.
That seems to be the gold standard
Yeah.
in the industry. That's for sure. I was listening to another podcast the other day, and someone calculated how many hours roughly he would have spent podcasting, and it was something ridiculous. But it was kind of that whole testament to, people say, oh, you got to do your 10,000 hours. And it's like, yeah, there's definitely some truth to that. But ultimately,
Yeah.
if you just do one thing for a long time, and you refine it, you're going to be very good at it, and you're probably going to have a lot of success. So yeah, it's a great way to build an education for yourself, if you will. And with the clothing, the benefit of, as you said, wearing all of those different types of brands is that it's like driving different cars and being a concierge. You can just get in all different types and you can go, oh, I like this and I don't like that. And if I could do this, I'd do this better. And like you said, you put your own spin on it, but it gives you a really, really good sort of awareness and an understanding of,
Yeah.
how clothing should fit, or in your perception, how it should fit. And then perhaps building that niche, because again, what you like, what other people like, it's always different. I feel that when we were building our brand back in the day, which is now rebranded, was Furia, it will be Fearless. but there was just so many, we wanted to be fashion meets fitness. It was
Yeah.
designed by athletes for athletes. It was something that you would wear out as well as in the gym, because that's generally what you do. But we wanted to go quality. We never wanted to go quantity. We found the people who were supplying all of the big names, of which I'll not name. We went to the conventions with our models, with our clothing. We tested products for a whole year. And, we decided that it was much better to go quality and have something which was bespoke and one of a kind, although it's a lot more expensive, made in Australia, Italian fabrics, than literally you can just go to China and throw any logo on a shirt. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people make money doing that. But is the goal to make money, or is the goal to build something you're proud of, to supply and fulfill a niche or correct a problem which exists, because that's ultimately really the difference between success, is like, you've got to enjoy it and you're actually helping people or providing something good.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I didn't even know you had your own clothing. Like, honestly, that's learn something new every day.
Hey, you do. This one, yeah, it's all around the gym, and then people are like, "Oh, Fury is yours," and I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Yeah," but I don't know. I'm not really.
I've seen the logo. Yeah.
You would have seen it. Like it's not. I guess I'm not someone who I'm like, "Oh, by the way, I co-own that brand, or like I help create it." You know what I mean? So even though it's kind of fully in my control now, I'm going to relabel it. I've had a lot of people asking me what I'm going to do, so that's going to be a project later for me, etc., which will be exciting, because we're going to roll out probably something I will talk to you about and collaborate, because we've got some big plans for that, which is going to be
definitely
super exciting, because we'll get a lot of great people on board, because ultimately it's about getting that creative part together. Now, I know we're coming to time, because we're having a bit of a shorter one, and perhaps a round 2 will be in order when I'm down there, or vice versa, because I know we've got a few other things in the pipeline for the viewers, which I think they'll enjoy, and the listeners. But to wrap up, I always have some rapid fire questions. They're a bit more fun in nature. They sort of elicit a bit more of a humanistic response. So I'll ask you 3, and then we'll wrap up with my final question I ask all my guests. So the first one, Jaxon, is, if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
To see ahead of time so I can predict what I'm going to do.
Right. See ahead.
If that makes sense. So I want to, so I could know what's going to happen tomorrow, so I could plan out my day to not have anything go wrong, if that makes sense, or benefit more.
So to be able to time travel into the future.
Time travel, I reckon that'd be awesome.
How far forward?
Man, as forward as you can go, 50 years.
That'd be scary, man. You could see your own.
Yeah, it would, but I would rather know than I personally would rather know than not know.
Yeah, well, that kind of gives a whole new definition to start with the end in mind and revert backwards,
Yeah.
My second one is, because of COVID, and I think I know what your answer might be, but I could be wrong. If you could wake up anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be and why?
Damn, that's a hard one. I'm going to say Bali, because everyone thinks Bali is tacky. And if you haven't been to Bali, please don't say it's tacky, because people look at Bali as Kuta, because they look at it through schoolies or news articles or the bombings, and I'm not going to get you wrong. Kuta is very dirty, but if you go on the outskirts like Canggu, Ubud, all those type, Uluwatu, man, it is the most magical place. The food there has uplifted so much in the past few years. It's not even funny, and it's cheap, and I just think it's amazing. So I would like to live in, wake up in Bali.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, there's always mixed reviews on that one, but like you said, if you've not been there, it's hard, especially when what you see on TV and from people is, they always show you that. It's like when people say to me, "Oh, you're from this part in England, and is it like this, or this is what I've said." I said, "Oh, that's what you've seen on TV. It's not bloody Geordie Shore, mate. It's there's a lot more.
Yeah,
there's a lot more going on." My third question would be, if you could, and this is what I've been asking my guests lately because I'm finding it interesting. If you could invite 3 people to dinner, dead or alive, who would it be? Who would you invite?
I thought you were going to ask this one. I've seen this on another pod. Damn. So just three people did dinner. Is that correct?
That's the one. Just three at this point.
Okay, I know two off my head. So I'm going to go straight up Mike Tyson.
Ooh.
Why? Because why not? Mike Tyson is just the GOAT. He has swagger. He would have a lot to tell. He would be funny. I just think Mike Tyson's a legend. Whether you do or not, I think he is. The second one, I've always been a fan of this guy, The Rock. I would love to have dinner with The Rock. He's just, man, he is killing it in every single way, shape, and form, in my opinion. He's done a bit of everything. He's done acting. He's done WWE. He's got his own clothing line. Man, he would have a lot to talk about, you know what I mean? And he's a cool guy. So I think The Rock would be cool. And then I'd like to have someone more like high up there. So like, you know, maybe a president or something. Maybe like, yeah, maybe even a rock star or something. I can't really think off the top of my head.
Like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely Mike Tyson, The Rock. I'd probably even say this. So it's all going to be guys. I don't know why, but I'd say I'd say Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, mate. There's some good answers there, and that's the thing. There's so many. It's hard when you put on the spot. A guest of mine turned around the other day, and he asked me these questions back, and he's like, "What about you?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, I've not really thought about it." But
who would you have?
Oh fuck, here we go. Well, man, right now at this point in time, man, rock stars would be great. Probably someone like, because that's on my mind. You've said it's on my mind, but I'd probably have a musician, because music's a big and has been a big part of my life. I'd probably go with someone like Robert Plant, who's like the lead singer, was a lead singer of Led Zeppelin, just because, I mean, the guy's just experienced life through probably one of the best eras of rock. And I just think stories and just his viewpoints and experiences would be entertainment in itself. Or maybe like that. And then I'm thinking Ozzy Osbourne, because he's the fucking man. Like he's done more.
So you like proper rock, none of this day and age rock, you know what I mean? That's real rock in my opinion.
Yeah, like I'm like 80s metal, like the proper stuff, man. The lyrics that mean something, but you know, everything's subjective. So I think those two would be phenomenal. And then two more, man, this is difficult because I'd have to really think about it in that respect. Would be I'd probably go for like a philosopher of some sort, like even Marcus Aurelius or Seneca, one of the Stoics, because again, they're super wise and they've been there, done it. Nothing's changed. They've got like the foundations of life really, really well down pat. And I think, again, that insight would kind of be like your superpower. It would be a peep into the past to get a peep into the future, but also to set your life up. And then the third one, off the top of my head, I'd go an actor. I really like Jason Statham. He used to be,
nice.
Not many people know this, but he used to be an Olympic figure diver. So he's been an athlete. You know, he's found his way into acting. He's obviously worked with The Rock. And I just think like someone from back home, just to tell his story about, you know, the acting, the modeling, the athlete would be great. And it's someone that I look for inspiration. So they'd be the three off the top of my head, but now I'm just thinking of loads of people. So I'm going to be just stewing on that now. And my last question that I ask all my guests is, Jaxon, could you identify a fear that you've had in your life or a fear that you still have, what it is and how you overcame it, or what you're doing to overcome it if it's still a present fear?
Damn, you're putting me on the spot. Fear. Oh damn. Can it be any fear?
Yeah, whatever it means to you. It can be big, small, recent, sentimental, whatever.
Actually, I got an interesting one. I've always had a fear of, how do you put this, being like kind of like being judged, but how do you put this? So the fear of living up to your expectations kind of thing. So I've obviously got this image now, and I've had this fear if, for example, this is just putting it out there, like I don't put up training videos anymore because I'm not in the shape that I used to be. And I know that sounds stupid, but it's a fear that I have, that if I'm not my best image, I will have people saying, putting me down or critiquing me, or, oh, why don't you look like this? Or, you're a bit more overweight, or blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I've always had that fear, man. And literally just as of the last probably 3 months or so, I've just been happy within myself. And I don't care, man, because I'm my own unique self, and everyone doesn't always look at their peak 24/7, 365 days a year. So I've just learned to be happy with myself, and that's it, man. And it's really hard to do, but as once you actually tell yourself over and over again, no, like, I look good, like, I'm my own unique self, this is me. It's really, really rewarding just to actually be happy within your own body.
Yeah. No, it's being comfortable.
It's hard to do, man.
Well, it's easier said
yeah.
than done, being comfortable in your own skin, because the human condition is we all feel a little bit insecure, don't we?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people think if you get to a certain status or you look a certain way, like, you don't feel sad, or you don't get depressed, or, you don't get down and negative, but you do. Like, it doesn't go away. Like, just because you've got money, it doesn't go away. Just because you have bigger muscles, it doesn't go away. Just because you live in a better house or drive a faster car, it doesn't go away. But people stand there and go, well, it's all right for you. It's like, what do you mean it's all right for me? Like, everyone's gone through like an internal battle we know nothing about. So no, I appreciate you sharing that, man. And I want to thank you for what's been like a good, I guess, a multitude or a bit of a variety of conversation here. It's been great. We've covered quite a few different topics. We've covered something different, which is a bit more relevant to this day and age, with social media and modeling and working with brands and relationships. So I've really enjoyed it. It's been to the point. I look forward to a round 2, because I know there's more coming.
Yeah.
People who want to keep up with you, Jaxon, perhaps they want to connect, they want to ask you some more questions or collaborate. Where is the best place to get in touch and follow along?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me on board, man. It's been, amazing. I can't wait to actually listen back to it and share it on my, my social media, because I think a lot of people get a bit of insight out of this. Yeah, you're an awesome guy. I hope we can connect more, to be honest. Maybe do a YouTube like we've been talking. Who knows? But yeah, basically just on my Instagram, I am Jaxon Tippet, all one word. Honestly, that is the best way to find me. And when I say this, I mean it. I will literally, unless it's something rude, I will literally respond to every single person that messages me. So I'm not one of those guys that will ignore it and just, you know what I mean? I genuinely want to respond and see what happens.
Touche, my friend. Touche. And definitely keen for some more collabs with like-minded people, brother. So yes, everyone, I will put, as always, that link in the show notes below, or if you're watching on YouTube there too. Jaxon, once again, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. For everyone listening and watching, thank you for tuning in today. If you're on YouTube, I've got to say it, guys, give it a like, comment, let us know what you liked. Let us know if you've got any questions, what you want to see more of, right? Subscribe, hit that bell icon. And of course, if you are on Spotify or iTunes or whatever it is, and it's safe to do so, you're not driving. I always say this because everyone's always in the bloody car listening. Not a bad thing. We've accompanied you on your journey. Leave us a rating and a review. It really does help the channel grow. And of course, until next time, guys, stay fearless.